All right, next we're going to hone in and take a closer look at the structure of nature's solar panels, leaves. So what do you suspect their primary function is? As you probably guessed, leaves are most plants' primary photosynthetic organ. They have, as you would expect, large surface area to intercept light with cells that are laden with chloroplasts rich in the green pigment chlorophyll. Leaves are the site of photosynthesis. As you undoubtedly recall from Bio 181, the intakes of photosynthesis are 6 molecules of carbon dioxide, 6 molecules of water, as well as radiant energy. And the output is 1 molecule of glucose, the sugar C6H12O6, and 6 molecules of O2. So given that the plant has to take in carbon dioxide and it has to rid its tissues of oxygen, how does the carbon dioxide actually get inside of the leaf and the oxygen get out? Well, if we zoom in on a leaf, we find that its structure is ideally suited for absorbing solar radiation and for gas exchange. Leaves are teeming with microscopic pores. An individual microscopic pore on a leaf is called a stoma. These stomata, the plural of stoma is stomata, are going to open by using guard cells that swell up and bow the pore open. And then they close when those guard cells become flaccid. So as photosynthesis requires the leaves to intake carbon dioxide through their stomata from the atmosphere and release the waste product oxygen, what else are they going to lose when those stomata are open? You probably guessed it from the illustration, water. So when the stomata are open, plants are going to lose copious amounts of water in the process of transpiration. Remember, transpiration is the one-way movement of water from roots up through the stems, the xylem in the stems, and out through the stomata. So it's actually turgor pressure or hydrostatic pressure that is regulating the opening and the closing of the stomata, and thus regulating the osmotic balance in the tissues of the plant. Lower turgor pressure means the cells have low water concentration, thus the plant wilts and those guard cells close, those stomata close to preserve water. High turgor pressure and the plant swells and the guard cells swell and the stomata are going to be open for gas exchange necessary for photosynthesis. All right, more good test questions for those of you that are still with me. Plants in which one of these two ecosystems would you predict to have higher densities of stomata on their leaves, more stomata per square centimeter, and why? Plants in tropical rainforests have very high densities of stomata because water isn't an issue. It isn't limiting it. It rains daily in tropical rainforests, so these plants can have lots of stomata open and high rates of transpiration. Okay, second question. Which plants are likely to concentrate their stomata on the underside of their leaves? Answer, desert plants. They've adapted a variety of different ways to minimize water loss. They've got most of their stomata tucked underneath their leaves. They have fewer stomata, And some plants, the CAM plants, C-A-M, they're only going to open their stomata at night, and they're going to store the carbon as an acid to be used during the day while they're photosynthesizing. So hopefully you're out there having fun exploring adaptations in xeric, Xeric, xeric or desert plants in your diversity of plants photography portfolio. That's your lab that's due this week. Some more anatomical terminology. That large surface area of the leaf is called the blade, and then the stem that orients the leaf, that is the petiole. Note, grasses and many other monocots lack petioles. Instead, the base of the leaf forms a sheath that envelops the stem. And just like roots and stems, leaves can also be modified to perform different tasks for plants. Tendrils are modified leaves, or sometimes stems, but mostly leaves. And they're those little curly things. What they're going to do is they're going to give fast-growing plants some structural support by locating and clinging to rigid surfaces, like beans do on our trellises in the community garden. In the Cactaceae, the cactus family, of which I'm sure you are all familiar, it's really a cool family. It's a unique family that evolved here in the Western Hemisphere. In the Cactaceae, the stems have now become the primary photosynthetic organs. Notice the green stems on this cactus. And the leaves, they've become modified into sharp spines to protect these plants from herbivory. That kind of seems like going to extremes, doesn't it? Well, maybe not. Recall that as recently as 11,000 years ago, during the Pleistocene, Mexico had lots of very large herbivores capable of doing some serious damage to plants, including multiple elephant species, rhinos, a giant javelina, bison, horses, etc. Natural selection shaped the Cactaceae's leaves into protective spines to deal with these foraging mammals. When we peel back the layers of the onion and look inside, we find that just like roots and stems, leaves, like this onion, can also be modified to store carbohydrates for future growth. Just like carrots and beets, modified storage roots, or tubers, potatoes, modified storage stems, the onion is a storage leaf. And lastly, leaves can be the site of asexual reproduction, as we see in these little plantlets, which are genetic clones of their parents. These are reproductive leaves. Okay, so these are the structures that we have discussed so far, and that are very likely that will show up on your next assessment. Wink, wink. I've got them built into this learning activity, so practice labeling all of the structures on the idealized plant.